My name is Ganesan Aruchunan. So I'll be presenting to you one of the questions out of total 4 questions, which will be our group assignment for the subject of IB, International Business. So the question that have been recommended to me, that have been picked up, will be: what are the benefits to Apple of outsourcing the assembly of the iPhone to foreign companies, in particular China? So I have provided 3 slides in detail to explain what are the criteria and what are the benefits of the questions number 1. Alright, so first of all, we have benefits in the first slides, and secondly, on second slide we have a usage and why it is important in China, and thirdly, why Apple product is important in China. So first of all, I'm going to explain to you what are the benefits on these questions. Alright, what are the benefits of the Apple outsourcing to the foreign companies, in particular China. So first benefits will be the potential to expose Apple to fraudulent copies, cost-saving assembly mistakes, and government agencies that wish to increase profits by tax increases and manufacturing tariffs. So it's meant to say the main reason or main benefits will be the cut costs, the costs that have been saved here, and also the benefits can be seen as increase in profitability by taking advantage of low wage cost of assembly line workers and engineers. So we can cut costs, the costing of the manpower as well. And number thirdly, many companies have utilized outsourcing, particularly to China. So in this case, not only iPhone, we also can take many other companies, also many other products that have been successfully outsourcing their products to China, and mainly. And number 4 will be, or the benefits will be, this has led to an entire supply chain being located closely to the assembly plant. This decreases cost for Apple in shipping required to produce the product. So what are the benefits mainly that we can see on this first slide, which is benefits, right? We can cut cost in terms of costing of a plant and also costing of the manpower. So let's proceed to the second slide. In the second slide, I'm going to explain to you all what is the usage and why it is important in China. So this is one of the most important question. Why always in China? The reason is why the advantages of Apple of appropriating the get-together of the iPhone to far-off nations, remember, decrease for the expense of the Apple, as Chinese work is accessible at a lower cost when contrasted with American work, in as China as the biggest populace on the planet. So what they're trying to say is cut costs. When the costing of a manpower or the labor, any business, in order to get a very good amount of profit, or gross profit, or net profit in a very good amount, we need to cut costs. On this particular Apple company, the reason why they are sending to the China is they want to cut costs. By the cut costing in the labor form, they have saved a lot of money. So that's the reason it's important to outsource to China, because they are most populated country ever in the world. With the large mass volume of people or human being in the China, they can easily find the markets, which is a labor form, with a very lower cost to run their business. And also this aids in the decrease of the normal expense of creation, and accordingly help in understanding the economics of scale underway. So let's proceed to the third slides that we have prepared for you. Alright, now moving up to the third and also the final slide for my first question, which is the benefits of the Apple outsourcing to the foreign companies, particularly China, which is why Apple product is important in China. Most of the people in globalized and around the world, they've been thinking why they always choose for the China. Like I just explained to you guys in a few other slides earlier. First of all, cut costs. Because when we are doing any business, a plant, the main thing that we want to do is to make money. So when we go to how to make money, when we really want to make money, we have to cut the cost. On these terms, why Apple product is important in China is very simple and very straightforward and very transparent, which is this likewise helps Apple in focusing at the center issues of the organization, like innovative work, altruism, on the lookout, for example, programming, advancement, and so on, which helps the organization in keeping up with its situation on the lookout. Okay, this is one of the most key point on the why Apple is very important in China. And also, second important is this advances the proficiency of the organization and helps in accomplishing economics of scale. Let's say, for example, when they are doing in China, so they are cutting costs in terms of labor, in coming up with a plant and everything. So when they cut costs in a larger scale, so they can maximize their output, and at the same time they can maximize their profits in a larger scale. So I believe my explanation have been in a clear manner, so I hope all of you understand. So particularly this is the reason why or the benefits of Apple outsourcing the assembly of the iPhone to the foreign companies, in particular China. So in a nutshell, the main reason they are outsourcing it, the reasons why they can cut costs in a larger scale in terms of manpowering and also the plant. So I hope my explanation has been very well. So I hope all of you understand on the first question. Thank you very much for the opportunity that has been given to me. Thank you all. Thank you.
Hi, salam sejahtera to all. My name is Engku Mohamad Hafiz bin Engku Malek from the group who represent the iPhone. I have been appointed to study the question number 2 based on the case study given about the iPhone. The question is, who else benefits from Apple decision to outsource assembly to China, and who are the potential loser? Kita ingin lihat keputusan Apple ini, siapa yang mendapat manfaat dan siapa yang mendapat kerugian daripada keputusan ini. So mari kita mula. First of all, the picture shown in this slide is where does all the component of iPhone come from. Komponen iPhone ni datang dari pelbagai negara yang dihasilkan untuk menghasilkan sebuah iPhone. So we can see that iPhone takes their component from the different country. Here we can see that there are 5 different country. Yang pertama adalah Jerman, where they get the accelerometer. The battery they get from the China, and meanwhile for the camera, compass and LCD they get from the Japan. As in Switzerland, component named gyroscope is taken from there. And the last, USA, they get the glasses screen, Wi-Fi chip and audio chip from there. There is a lot of cost and time used to get all those components in producing an iPhone. Maksudnya komponen ini datang dari pelbagai negara yang mungkin bukan yang mungkin, yang jaraknya begitu jauh untuk menghasilkan satu iPhone. So we can imagine that a lot of cost and the distance to produce one iPhone. So that is why Apple wants to outsource assembly to China, as in China they can easily get all component there. So di dalam satu negara kita boleh dapat pelbagai komponen untuk menghasilkan telefon. Jadi ini adalah satu pelaburan yang bermanfaat kepada Apple itu sendiri. Daripada menjimatkan kos, menjimatkan masa, hanya dilakukan di dalam satu negara. Jadi ini adalah satu keputusan yang baiklah pada saya. Okey, kita akan pergi ke slide yang kedua. It show that who else benefit when Apple decide to outsource assembly to China. Okey, poin yang pertama adalah manufacture in China. Before Apple make the decision, there is not much attention given to the China, as Apple get their source in other country around the world. Jadi Apple tidak kisah sangatlah terhadap China pada waktu itu kerana sumber yang diperolehi daripada pelbagai negara. Jadi sekali apabila Apple found out that a lot easier in getting all the component in China, they decide to make a base in China. Setelah melihat potensi banyak kemudahan yang diperolehi di China, dan di sinilah Apple membuat keputusan untuk membina lebih banyak kilang di China. So as in the case study also state that it takes about 9 months to find an engineer, but in China it took only 15 days for them to search for engineer. Okey, inilah perbezaan yang ketara di USA, sehingga mengambil masa sehingga 9 bulan untuk mendapat engineer, tetapi di China hanya 15 hari sahaja. Ini adalah satu alasan yang kukuh mengapa Apple mahu invest di China. Jadi antaranya Foxconn, one of the contract manufacturer for Apple in China. Jadi bila Apple decide untuk outsource assembly in China, Foxconn expand dia punya store daripada 19 lokasi pada tahun 2019 kepada 29 lokasi pada tahun 2019. Jadi ini menunjukkan satu peningkatan yang ketara lah, daripada 19 meningkat kepada 29. Maksudnya demand and supply lah. So ini menunjukkan manufacturers such as the engineer, subcontract are the one who benefit from this. So daripada keputusan ini secara tidak langsung memberi manfaat kepada engineer dan subcontract yang berada di China. Mereka boleh mendapat pelbagai manfaat dari penghasilan komponen-komponen di negara mereka. Jadi another point is employer and employee in China. So when there is demand, they will need more employee in factories. Lebih banyak kilang, lebih banyak pekerja. Jadi daripada sinilah yang memberi peluang pekerjaan pada penduduk setempat. Jadi Foxconn employ hundred of thousand worker to assembly Apple device in China. Jadi Foxconn telah mengambil ramai pekerja untuk memberi kelancaran terhadap proses ini. Jadi daripada sini secara automatically will increase the economy of China. Jadi secara tidak langsung meningkatkan jualan Apple, penghasilan Apple, dan memberi peningkatan ekonomi pada negara China dan penduduk setempat itu sendiri. Jadi they have numerous thousand more jobs, and this benefits them. Right? The first point is the people in the USA. When Apple decide to outsource assembly to China, there will be less job given to the factory in USA. Lebih banyak yang diberhentikan kerja, tutup kilang, dan menyebabkan peningkatan kepada pengangguran. And the employee, they will losing their jobs to Chinese people. Jadi mereka telah kehilangan kerja akibat keputusan ini, dan secara tak langsung memberi manfaat kepada orang-orang China. Same goes to the supplier to other country, which is in point number 2. Jadi negara-negara asal yang membekalkan komponen kepada Apple juga turut terkesan daripada keputusan ini. Mereka antara yang potential loser yang lebih besar lah, kerana setelah sekian lama menjadi supplier kepada Apple dan sekaligus terkesan dengan penutupan kilang, dengan pembuangan kerja, dengan mengecilkan operasi, di antaranya negara Jerman dan Taiwan, Korea dan Taiwan, Europe dan Afrika. Okay, so all these countries are potential loser here. Memang terkesan dengan keputusan ini lah. It's because when China outsource their assembly, they cut their supplier chain from all the country. Jadi Apple telah memotong kos mereka operasi di negara-negara yang saya sebutkan tadi dan tertumpu kepada negara China sahaja. For that, they will lose their job and contract from the Apple, and that is why they are the potential loser here.
Let's move on to question 3. What are the potential ethical problems associated with outsourcing assembly jobs to Foxconn in China? And how might Apple deal with this? So before we look into the problems, let's see who is Foxconn. Foxconn is Apple's primary supplier. It is based in Taiwan. In 2012, Foxconn employed 1.3 million workers and 1.1 million workers in 2013, making it one of the top 10 employers in the world. Foxconn has 12 factories in 9 Chinese cities, more than in any other country. The largest Foxconn factory is located in Shenzhen, covering 850 acres of walled campus, sometimes refers to as Foxconn City. The park produced the bulk of Apple's iPhone. The park includes 15 factories, workers' dormitories, 4 swimming pools, a fire brigade, its own television network, Foxconn TV, and a city center with a grocery store, bank, restaurant, bookstore, and hospital. There are about 400,000 workers at this main factory. While some workers live in the surrounding towns and villages, others live and work inside the complex. A quarter of the employees live in the dormitories, and many of them work up to 12 hours a day for 6 days each week. Another Foxconn factory city is located in Zhengzhou Technology Park in Zhengzhou, with 100,000 workers producing iPhones. The other one also has 100,000 workers, and the location is in Chengdu, where iPads are produced. Okay, so we have looked at Foxconn and their factories. Although one of the factories, which is the biggest one, has so much of facilities available for the workers, still there are number of ethical problems related to workers. So now let's have a look at what are these problems. The major criticism is related to the labor's working condition and wage. It was highlighted in a study by the WSR. Despite the vast sum of money at the top of Apple supply chains, the workers that make its product face abuses. Basically, they are talking about poverty, wages, excessive and unpaid overtime, well in excess of legal limits, long-term exposure to toxic chemicals without proper protective equipment, unsafe work environment including blocked and locked exits, intense physiological pressure, and the use of forced student labor. So due to these high pressured work conditions, there were reported cases of suicides among the Foxconn employees in the early 2010. Foxconn's horrifically harsh response to this suicide problem was to erect nets around its building to keep workers from jumping. This indicates like how little the company actually cares about their employee. Okay, so the next one that we are looking into is the condition in Foxconn, which is categorized as sweatshop. U.S. Department of Labor defines a sweatshop as a factory that violates 2 or more labor law. Sweatshops basically have a working condition which is extremely poor, socially unacceptable, and illegal working conditions. Work may be dangerous, climatically challenging, work at graveyard shift, exposure to harmful chemical, and underpaid. It is highly unethical for a company to allow such a practice of discriminating their employees. Another serious issue or unethical practice by Apple is usage of highly toxic chemical benzene and hexane in their final assembly facilities of its iPhone and iPad products. The employees were not informed of the toxin, and in 2009 it was reported 200 employees exposed to hexane for prolonged period of time suffered nerve damage. Unfortunately, the employees did not get fair medical compensation and were forced to quit the job. Due to the continuous discrimination by Foxconn, there were a number of riots and strikes by the employees between 2012 and 2015. Apple had been warned about these dangerous conditions inside the factory, according to the New York Times, but did nothing to prevent the catastrophic disaster. Having this matter exposed, Apple went through a backlash from customer and organizations that support human rights. And let's see how Apple could deal with this issue. Although there were initial plans to address this issue, it became a challenge to implement it when conflicts arises between meeting the demands and maintaining the supplier relationship. Apple did take action to some extent to resolve the unethical practice, but they do not seem very promising or genuine in their attempt. Apple should take very serious steps to clean its brand name against the ugly reputation. Apple can actually impose its own mandatory policies to subcontractors in their partnership agreement, stating any violation to the agreement can cause the subcontractor to lose their contract and pay a heavy penalty. The content to the policy requirement should include healthy working environment, minimum wage scale which regularly revised according to the market rate, and health protection over any chemical substance used in the production line. The local labor law and cultural adversity must be respected and made as a requirement to be adhered to by the subcontractors strictly. Apple should have its own auditor or investigation team from its headquarters sent to the subcontractor's factory to do a spot check randomly without prior notice. To avoid any biasness in the investigation and portray transparency, Apple should invest in hiring external party, probably NGOs who are ardent human rights and labor rights protector. Mere words of promises does not bring an unethical problem to end without serious implementation of the promises and commitments. In September 2020, Apple announced human rights policy aimed at improving the rights of workers who manufacture its popular smartphone and computer. Matt Bailey, the program director of digital freedom at Pan America, praised the language in the new policy but also called it mostly a symbolic move. He said it was a commitment that lacks public accountability. He highlighted that the policy has lack of implementation mechanism where the action and reform roadmap are unclear. Thus, Apple must embark into resolving these complex problems by having a mitigation division to increase integration and control over Foxconn's service. Until now, we have actually analyzed the major ethical problems faced by Apple due to outsourcing to Foxconn. But there may be other potential issues such as security breach, environmental or ecological factor, political risk, or demand and control risk. But these factors are not significantly discussed or highlighted throughout the outsourcing period between Apple and Foxconn. Thus, an assumption can be made that Foxconn has been a good subcontractor except for the management of their employees. If this issue is resolved, Apple can safely enjoy its huge profit margins without any sense of guilt or customer backlash. Finally, when a company practices ethical sourcing, it guarantees that the products it obtains are procured in a responsible and sustainable manner and that the workers involved are treated fairly. With ethical sourcing, environmental and social implications are taken into account. Ethical sourcing has become critical for reducing operational risk and maintain a positive brand image. As a conclusion, however, global outsourcing is an industry should transfer not only industrial operation but also trustworthy and responsible social and environmental criteria.
Hi, I'm Sanjay. I'm going to explain about impact of outsourcing undertaken by Apple towards American economy. There are two sides to view if outsourcing undertaken by Apple is a good thing or a bad thing for American economy. Consumer costs down, which helps very strongly at the growth of the company. As the costs get lower, prices get lower and the demand increases. Because of this, company is actually earning profit, allowing Apple to spend more money on its research and innovating to create more products in United States of America. Everyone would agree that Apple needs to continue monitoring the working conditions at China assembly plants to ensure that workers are being treated fairly and not subjected to poor living or working conditions, as well as working long hours without extra pay and wages. China workers do deserve proper monitoring and good working conditions. However, this is just helping the China economy to grow, in contrast, not the American economy. A large majority of Americans believe outsourcing is bad for US economy. This view might be shared as many as 71% of Americans, according to Zogby International poll reported by Bloomberg Businessweek. Outsourcing keeping America businesses profitable through lower production costs, which benefits consumer and leads to increase in revenue for US economy. According to Apple company, outsourcing manufacturing is not only about keeping costs to customers down. On the contrary, they still are paying huge prices for the latest mobile or computer. It is not only about company survival. Apple company would still be tremendously well where it is to bring those factories back home. Furthermore, moving jobs offshore has become a way of directing even more money to those at the top of American society. Apart from that, one of the most pointed out arguments again outsourcing is again about the concern of jobs being lost in the America, which is then transferred to foreign countries. Apple company that outsource to foreign countries, particularly China, results to Americans holding higher skill level jobs. It is claimed that outsourcing take away immediate jobs for unskilled American labor. Generally, this can be true in some instance as the labor employment move to foreign countries tends to be jobs that pay at a more poor level by American cost of living standards, leading to poor lives to those in America holding such jobs. Poverty does not benefit the American economy since poverty reduces consumer spending and tax revenues and increases certain social costs. This situation as a result of cost savings for outsourced goods. These cost savings can be applied to purchase of additional goods by American consumers, then leading to more job creation in America because of outsourcing. To conclude, as from my opinion, Apple company outsource has increased productivity because eligibility of working 24 hours a day, 7 days a week due to time zone differences. It opens more job opportunity at the higher level managements and reaches to be done in America. Finally, outsourcing is an opportunity practiced by all major industrialist countries, and kind of outsourcing undertaken by Apple company is a good thing for the American economy. Thank you.